Show me the place I was thinking. Show me. Show me. Show me. Which law says you can try me and I'm written law? Show me. You cannot show me. And you're a judge. You claim you're a judge. You don't know law. You don't know law. Nonsense. Where is the family address? Where is it? Which law gave you the right to go to a family address? Which law gave you the right? Nonsense. And you can take your Chinese. And you can take your place and drive with me. You want to what are you doing here? 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 This is the idiot that attacked me. This is the fool that attacked me. That's the idiot that attacked me. That's the fool. Don't touch me. Don't push me. I'm going. Don't touch me. I'm warning you. Don't touch me. I'm warning you. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. I said don't touch me. Don't. Smart people. You don't know law. Show me where he says and where my right to run address. Show me the law. Show me the law. Omotosho, show me the law. Not your law. There is nothing new. You're writing rubbish. Show me the law. On address. Affidavit. You said but I think there's not for them. God will punish you. Now and forever. Criminals. Any judgment, let it be on record. Any judgment given in this court is rubbish. Ask him where is the law. Ask omotosho, where is the law? Where is the law?
Look at a government that will engage terrorists, the original terrorists that have killed before, and they say that they are now repentant. I mean, terrorists that will come out in broad daylight and claim responsibility for deaths, and they say they have forgiven them. Now, to worsen the whole thing, they say they have rehabilitated them and poured them into the Nigerian military. And how can the insecurity stop? Now, Nnamdi Kanu, go and listen to all the broadcasts of Nnamdi Kanu from 2014 till now. Everything that young man said is happening now. It's like they have a pre-information of what is going to happen, and they were just giving it out. Now, what is the charges, the terrorism charges that are carrying out against Nnamdi Kanu? Kanu told people, number one, during the NSAS, when the militaries were shooting at people at a toll gate, he said, defend yourself. He is not the first person that has said something like that. So the terrorism, he is a terrorist because he said, people, if the militaries are shooting at you, find a way and defend yourself and kill them too. That is the basis of the terrorism. Now, but people that have carried out terrorism, killed, okay, like the general that was killed, somebody have taken responsibility. IPOB have never taken responsibility for any crime. In fact, what they keep saying is that we are not responsible. Nigerian security, do your job. In fact, they went as far as, in order to blackmail IPOB, did you know that the federal government engaged a Muslim jihadist in the person of our Igbo to go and guide Southeast? Did you know that the federal they broke a jail in Imo State, carried all the criminals, handed them over to our Igbo? He recruited them and put them in Imo State. Did you know that the Bubago outfit is the outfit that the federal government used to carry out jihad in Imo State? And now what they were doing is that when they caged the media in Imo State, because when I confronted the media, they said they are caged, that they will only wait until the police release their report. It is based on the police report that they will write their own report. They caged it. They will perpetrate this act. The next thing you will hear is IPOB. Now, who are these IPOB? You say IPOB. IPOB say it is not us. Why don't you take time and investigate? It never happened. You know that in the East today, if anybody killed, they don't carry out investigation. So all they did is to do that to set Nnamdi Kanu up to kill him. Let me tell you, Nnamdi Kanu is only one man after Otuku that Igbos are rallying around, have seen as a leader. So they don't want that to happen. And well, we don't know what they plan to do, but we are watching.
Igbos must not allow this judgment to stand, no matter what. They should not allow it to stand. Nnamdi Kanu's conviction is a conviction of the entire Igbo race. It is a conviction against what the Igbos believe, majority of the Igbos, because you might feel like you are not in the same position, or you are not in the same ideology with Nnamdi Kanu and all of that. But the fact remains that if you are an Igbo person in this Nigeria and beyond, wherever you are, this is what you need to come out and speak out for. Nnamdi Kanu's conviction is indirectly hit back to you, and it's not just going to be far from now. Very soon you start, understanding the basis of this very judgment. It's more like victimizing the ideology of the entire Igbos. You know, you can't jail Nnamdi Kanu. It's not possible. It can never stand.
I mean, anybody in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's shoes have that outpost. Come on, your mic, of course he is. I mean, what else can he do? What else can he say? If he is not allowed to exercise his fundamental human right, what else? You try to protest and in the best way or in any way you can. I mean, I've witnessed these proceedings on 2 occasions, and I am so disappointed. And in fact, Nigeria should arrive, because I think we are at war with the judiciary. Not just Nnamdi Kanu's case. If you look at the judgments and counter-judgments of the judiciary, I mean, it's alarming. It's destroying this country.
The judgment that was delivered on Nnamdi Kanu's case is not just legally questionable, but morally unacceptable. What
is the outburst? The outburst is that, allow me, it is my fundamental human right. It is my fundamental human right that I move my final address. That is the outburst. And the judge is saying no. Now, what Nnamdi Kanu is trying to say is that the fact that you are a judge does not give you the right to go against the law that puts you there. The judges, even though you are a judge and in any court to sit, you have the final say. But something gave you the power to have that final say. You cannot go against the law that gave you the power to sit in the court and pass judgment. So that's the outpost. That's what Nnamdi Kanu is challenging, right?
Thank you so much. Your name, ma?
My name is flawed. I'm the president of Igbo Women Assembly.
I mean, this woman just said it all. Nnamdi Kanu's outburst in the court was obviously justifiable. You are a judge, and he's a defendant. He's entitled to every form of right to speak in the court, because that was what you called a judgment day. So the outburst was very, very justifiable.
Well, we have made it very clear that this trial in the first place was unnecessary. Nigeria is wasting its time on a trial that will take Nigeria nowhere. When they were describing the evidence they have, I was expecting them to say that they found him with an RPG. No. The only evidence they found in his room was a microphone. And then the biggest weapon was a radio transmitter. I have never heard that before, that a country will waste 10 years to prosecute somebody whose only weapon is a radio transmitter and a microphone. They also found underwear. The rest is hearsay, including, they presented, by the way, an interview from Sahara reporters. Should anybody be jailed for being interviewed by Sahara reporters? They kept mentioning it. Interview Sahara reporters, interview Sahara reporters. So if someone did an interview with CNN now, does that mean the person should be jailed? Laboriously, you could tell that the judge is struggling. Laboriously. I'm just hoping that between the time they present the case and the time the judgment will be delivered, that common sense will prevail. And Kanu will be allowed to rejoin his family. And Nigeria, hopefully, will start facing its real challenges, of which Nnamdi Kanu is not one of them. Thank you very much.
Exactly my point. In what basis is Nnamdi Kanu being jailed? That is a question that everybody in Nigeria should be asking. In what basis is Kanu being jailed? Because you said you charge him for terrorism, and there are factors to be established before the court if truly someone is a terrorist or being convicted for terrorism. So what are these factors? Was Nnamdi Kanu found with any form of ammunition? Was he found with any bullet? Was he found with any rifle? Was he found with any AK-47? What are the basis of this very judgment? It is a very big, this is so biased that every one of us, because I actually streamed this very particular judgment, and I saw the anger in this man. I saw everything. Because to be sincere, when he was reading this judgment, I asked myself, are you jailing Nnamdi Kanu because of what you said you, judge, said that he committed? Or you're jailing him because he acted unruly in the court? Because what you read clearly states that you jailed him because Nnamdi Kanu was, outbursten in the court. So what justifies the judgment you gave? This must not stand.
Kanu's brothers have alleged that the Yorubas actually hate Igbos with what's happening in court.
There's always excuse. And the Nigerian state manufactures hatred of ethnic groups against themselves. But ask yourself, was it a Yoruba man was it an Igbo man that jailed Awolowo? It was a Yoruba man. Abi? When I was arrested by DSS in 2019, all the guys who came to abduct me, one of them was Ijo, another one was speaking Yoruba. The fact that you speak Yoruba doesn't mean you are Yoruba. But all the guys that were in charge of my detention, they were Yoruba people. So when they want to use you against yourselves, it is then I start telling you, the judge is Yoruba, this thing. But when it comes to stealing Nigeria's money and wealth, sharing among themselves, there is no religion, there is no tribe.
Well, to Omotosho, on this particular issue of dividing and whatever, I do not agree with you on this particular one. That is because it is glaring how polarized the Nigerian nation have become. And people should not be forced to believe fantasy that doesn't exist. It is glaring how polarized, how divided Nigeria have become. And it has never been like this, not even during the Civil War. So when you say that, because you can go to media, a whole lot of Yorubas are actually teaming up and supporting this particular judgment. And I would just say that not all Yorubas do, but majority of them. So when you see all of those things, you take it as if it is between Igbos and Yorubas. And besides, what are you talking about? Check the courts. Who is the judge? Who are the lawyers? And this is what happened during the regime of Buhari. All the lawyers were, Fulanis, it is obvious. So when you see this kind of system in the judiciary, you would ask yourself, is it about the tribe? Because if you are judging Nnamdi Kanu as an Igbo man, it's not necessary for a Yoruba man to stand as the justice. So why not take an Igbo person to be a justice or somebody from elsewhere? So this is very orchestrated and it is very obvious. It's not something you can, sweep under the carpet. So you cannot rule out that there is this obvious and glaring polarization within the Nigerian space today. It is not possible. It is happening and people are seeing it. People are feeling it. And this of Nnamdi Kanu is a pure example of what we are saying.
Today is the only day I have witnessed a man being convicted for mere buffering, for what he said from his mouth, not what he did with his own hands. The verdict is not consistent with the evidence laid before the court. The sentence is overbroad, cruel, and unusual. How can you convict a man for making mere broadcasts from a location that was never named, and he never tied that broadcast to any single incident of violence, or even someone slapping someone, not to talk of terrorism? He did all this. He didn't lay any evidence. I don't know where this whole verdict can be grounded in law, logic, or facts. We disagree with the judgment vehemently, and we are going to fight it from here onwards until justice is done. Judgment, politics is based on some primordial sentiment just because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is Igbo. An Igbo man has become the person in Nigeria that should be trampled upon. I'm not saying this because I'm Igbo. I'll say it for the house of Yoruba who gets trampled upon. But today we saw an Igbo man being trampled upon, and by God Almighty, we are not going to allow it. Nobody is going to trample on me. Nobody is going to trample on Nnamdi Kanu. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not a terrorist. He's a man that was pursuing change. To pursue a separate nation of yours is not a crime. So in Nigeria today, if somebody says don't be silly, you get convicted. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu may broadcast and so what? And you convict him for terrorism for mere words in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. What kind of precedent is being laid? So from here, we are heading to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal is the only court in this country, or the next court in this country, that sits as a jury. We are going to approach justice there to check out what happened in court today. And we are pretty sure the justices will agree with us that today was the symbol of the travesty of justice that everybody has been suspecting all along. The Court of Appeal disagrees with us, we head to the Supreme Court. But by God Almighty, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not going to stand convicted. He's going to get overturned. Thank you.
First of all, I want to talk to the Igbos that nobody should take us into your hand. I'm assuring you, this judgment is dedicated on our anger. Thank God that the judgment was streamed live and everybody watched it. You see the anger in delivering the judgment. And it's not predicated on law. Now, I also want to let you know that this charge, that the investigation that gave rise to this charge was not investigated, because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's purported statement, was rejected by this court. And they did not tender any document as investigation report. That is to say, the investigation was not, the offense was not investigated. Having said that, also something that happened in court today, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu filed a matter in court of appeal, and he's asking, my lord, that particular matter I filed in court of appeal anchored on this particular issue. Please, can you just suspend this judgment? Let court of appeal direct what to do. My lord refused. Now, on the issue of anger, you journalists will bear with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that government, Nigerian government, and the judiciary are not fair to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. What do I mean? Nnamdi Kanu was given judgment by court of appeal. Federal government refused to comply with that judgment given by court of appeal until after 8 days before the appeal against it. When we get to the Supreme Court directed prosecution what to do. Amend this particular charge. Nnamdi Kanu was saying that, please, can you amend this charge? They refused. With the combined effect of all this, I'm assuring you that this judgment will not stand. And the court of appeal will do justice to it. Now, I also want to plead with judiciary. Nnamdi Kanu is representing himself because the court has given the prosecution a blanket order to detain Mazi Nnamdi Kanu wherever they want. They should detain Mazi Nnamdi Kanu where we have access to file his appeal, because he has 90 days to file his appeal. And the judge said that the judgment will be ready in the next 15 minutes. And also enjoy the media. We have the record of proceedings from the day till today. I want you to check the record of proceedings and evidence standard, reconcile it with the judgment. Now you now see what we are talking about. You are bringing British into this matter, bringing America into this matter. You are now trying to so that the British and America will be against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Something that was not an issue, that was never tendered, that was never given evidence on, and they are raising the issue. So this is a judgment against the Igbos. This is a judgment against the people of Southeast, and it's because of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is an evil. You cannot give this kind of judgment to a northern. You cannot give it to a southwestern. You cannot give it to another tribe in Nigeria apart from the Igbos. And we are going to start against it, because it has happened in this country against some other persons, including Abiola. The Igbos join hands together to fight against it. Why should we be our own time and everybody's sitting there? I think it's unfair.
The decision of this judgment raises more questions than answers, and its flaws are too serious to ignore. This is why this case must not stand, and it has never had a stand. First, the case violates established legal principles. Judgment cannot stand when the process leading to it breaks the law it claims to uphold. Nnamdi Kanu was extrajudicially taken from a foreign country and brought back to Nigeria without due process. In any democratic society, such an act contaminates the entire trial. You cannot violate international law, human rights, and constitutional safeguards and still call the outcome justice. That must not happen. Secondly is this selective judgment. There is this particular way of applying law to a Nigerian, an Igbo Nigerian. If you're an Igbo Nigerian, there is this particular way the law is being applied. People who deeply negotiate with terrorists, defend bandits, threaten national security work freely every day. Yet a man accused of speech-related offenses faces a life-altering sentence. This selective justice damages trust and deepens the feeling that Igbo voices are treated with hostility. Third, the court ignored political realities within this case. Nigeria has repeatedly handled similar agitation-related cases. You talk about the OPC, the Niger Delta militancy, Arewa Youth ultimatums, through dialogue, negotiation, and political solutions. Why is the case of an Igbo agitator treated differently? A judgment that worsens tensions instead of healing them can never be called a justice. 4, it also threatens peace, not protect it. Punishing a leader harshly really ends agitation. It often inflames it. Peace comes through understanding root causes, not through force. This judgment risks alienating millions of peaceful Igbo citizens who already feel marginalized. And it's going to be a trouble, just like I told my friend. 5th, justice must be seen to be done. Even if one disagrees with Nnamdi Kanu's method, the law still demands a fair, transparent, and a credible process. When people lose faith in the fairness of the system itself becomes unstable. And right now, this judgment does not appear fair, it is not balanced, and it doesn't have a legal sound. For these particular reasons, this judgment was fundamentally flawed and must not be allowed to stand.
What Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is facing is persecution and prosecution. He has said this repeatedly. You cannot try a man without a written law. He has only simply asked the judge and the prosecution team to provide him with that section of the law that says you can try him. You cannot try a man under a repealed law. That would not work. It looks as if there is a grand conspiracy to jail Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So how can you jail a man who has done nothing? How can you jail a man that he don't have any evidence to present before the court? It's a conspiracy. It looks as if there is a war between Igbos and Yorubas. Bear in mind that this very problem was inherited by President Ahmed Tinubu. They shouldn't make us look as if we're unapproachable. I reserve so many things, but the days and weeks to come by will determine the exact direction we have to follow. But I want to make this clear to each and every one of you. Nnamdi Kanu is not a terrorist, and they have done nothing to prove that he's a terrorist. Since 2016, this case began. From pillar to post, this same very situation was what killed my parents. In 2017, they could not survive the trauma of Operation Python Dance. What is he asking for? Justice and equity. That's what he stands for. It's not against anybody in particular. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has come to court today to make it clear to the court that he has told the judge that he has no constitutional power to try him. I've been sure the court lacks conviction. Even from the Supreme Court, they made a mess of this case by remitting the same case back to Federal High Court. That is called double jeopardy law. You cannot try a man who has been discharged and still refer that same case back to Supreme Court, back to Federal High Court. What for? If they have brought in new charges, perhaps we understand.
But how would you explain the outburst in court?
It's a natural thing to happen because omotosho is not willing to listen, he's not willing to obey the Constitution, he's not willing to obey the Supreme Court orders. So what is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu doing in court in the first place?
But you and I know that Justice Omotosho has given Nnamdi Kanu several periods to open his defense. And today he's opening his defense.
No, he did not. He came today for ruling. And let me make this clear to you. By cross-examining those witnesses that came to court, he's opening his defense. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be allowed to go for his final written address. And the very judge does not want to allow him to do that. In the interest of fairness, he should allow him to do so. He said he's proceeding to go and rule. That's what he said today.
But the judge said that in other proceedings that happened before, Nnamdi Kanu said the same thing. This is former lawyer. And he's still saying the same thing. That is the ruling of the judge.
But Mazi Nnamdi has the final right for his written address. Is that correct?
But this I don't want to be confrontational.
Yeah.
But this same issue has been raised in the past. And it was dismissed.
And when you have the issue in front of law, what do you do? What do you do? They phrase the issue the way they want to phrase it. If they are to go by the constitution of this country, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu wouldn't even be in jail in the first place. That you need to understand. I think you and I have followed this case from the beginning up until now. Tell me one single evidence to convict Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Everything is based on hearsay. Nnamdi Kanu made a broadcast in London which was monitored in Nigeria. Specific place they cannot identify it. Then they moved from that charge and said he made broadcasts somewhere around the world. Where is it in the world which was monitored in Nigeria? They couldn't establish that. Now, a few days ago, the prosecution came back and said, oh, you made a broadcast in Nigeria. Where is it made exactly? He must have to tell the court. But they are unable to provide all these information because they don't have any. Also bear in mind that the witnesses they showcase in court, they are missionaries. They are missionaries. And that is why we have filed for perjury today at the magistrate court. In which they, so for how long will this evil keep going? Though everywhere in Nigeria, people are dying. Terrorists are killing people. Did Mazi Nnamdi Kanu kill anyone? The answer is no. So what is he doing in detention? It's an act of evil. Attack against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It's an attack against the Igbos and the innocent people of this country. Those who believe in fairness and equity should rise up now.
As regards to this is my final statement. We need to speak up. We need to speak up. Whether you are Igbo, Yoruba, or whatever, we really have to speak up. Because at the end of the day, if these people succeed in, making sure that Nnamdi Kanu is jailed, probably sentenced to death or whichever way, because the matter is to be appealed before the appellate court. We really have to do everything possible to come out and speak out, because if this is allowed, it is going to be a judicial suicide that would consume every one of us. Because, well, we may be happy, some people will be happy, it's on Igbos and people are, rejoicing and all of that. But one day, this would definitely hit every one of us. Nnamdi Kanu just happened to experience what they call Nigeria happening to somebody. And Nigeria just happened to Nnamdi Kanu by leashing out such ridiculous judgment. It is really, really shameful. And like I said, whatever you do, whatever you say about this case, ask yourself, what is the offense of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? What was presented before the court as regards to whether he's a terrorist or not? And also, you ask about the question of jurisdiction, which has always been on the table. You said he committed a crime. In a law, to the best of my knowledge, even though I'm not a lawyer, but to the little knowledge I have about the jurisdictional question, if you say someone committed a crime, you bring the person in. The first thing to be established is where this offense was committed. And again, you also ruled out how he was also brought in. Because you said you actually mentioned it when it was being, this judgment was actually being live streamed, but you didn't make point out of it. You only said, yes, yeah, it is true. He was actually, brought to Nigeria wrongly and all of that. But what happened? Because in this same court, in this same Federal High Court, Nnamdi Kanu was once given 8 billion naira, awarded 8 billion naira because of illegal rendition. Multiple judgments that have favored him, that has ever favored him in this case. None of them, none of which has been obeyed. When you try to be like, oh, it doesn't concern you, Nigeria just happened to Nnamdi Kanu, and it can happen to any one of us. The attack that we all witnessed that took place in, I think, Kwaraya, happened to be people's family. These are people's family. It could be any one of us. So we have to speak up and call a spade a spade. This is not about being Igbo. This is not about being Hausa or Yoruba or whatever. This is about being the Nigerian. And it is shameful for any one of us to watch your fellow Nigerian being treated this way. Whatever that befalls Nnamdi Kanu must be challenged. And every one of us should rise up. This is not about one man. It is holistically about the Nigerian people. And again, let's not forget, even though this case is to be appealed before the appellate court, we still have to understand that Nnamdi Kanu's case is purely political and so shall be handled politically. Anything outside of this cannot be justified. Just like the watery judgment that was given today. So I don't trust any Nigerian court again. I don't trust anything, any judicial process in Nigeria, in as much as this case is concerned. In fact, every other case, I don't trust the justice system of Nigeria. So the best thing now is to push for a political solution. But the problem is that those that are fronting this political solution, they are not being sincere to themselves. So everything relies on the Nigerian people. If we truly love this country, if we truly want this country to survive, it's right time. Because, like I said before, Nnamdi Kanu's release would have been an advantage to Tinubu's government. Nnamdi Kanu's sentence is not going to do any good to Tinubu's government. It's even more like going to destabilize the region of the Southeast. And when the Southeast zone is destabilized, you talk about the North already that is being taken over by the terrorists. You talk about the Southwest, that a lot of people are being taken in the bush and all of that. So if he allows that to happen, then it's going to face with a lot of pressure. And already there is pressure from the international communities and within Nigeria, his own nation. So it is important he discontinue this very trial, or whatever they call it. Ask yourself, what happened to Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's government? Goodluck was frustrated out of the office because of instability. And those instabilities are what they are pushing now. Because those that are advising you not to, release Nnamdi Kanu, do not want your government to succeed. And that is the obvious truth. So it is important the case continue to be addressed politically, as this is the only way to, go about this. So tell me, what do you think about this case so far? What do you think about the judgment? And once again, don't forget to like this video, share, so you would always get notified when we drop any update in this channel. Thank you for watching.